Are the San Antonio Spurs really going to help the Lakers out? What is up, San Antonio Spurs fans? Welcome to TSR Sports. I don't usually like to cover the trade rumors too much, but this one is getting more and more and more traction, just like the DeJounte Murray trade did a few weeks ago, and this is looking like it's starting to cross over from possibly rumor to reality, so I felt it's finally time to cover the Spurs acting as a third team to absorb Russell Westbrook's contract and a possible Kyrie Irving trade between the Nets and the Lakers. This is done by CBS Sports. I'll drop a comment in this, drop the link in the comments down below on what, if you want to read the article yourself. Drop a comment yourself. Do you want this to happen? Would you hate if it happened? Hit that thumbs up like support a fellow Spurs fan and subscribe for more Spurs content. Pop, what's up? All right, let's get into the article. Russell Westbrook has a $47 million salary. No team in the NBA wants to pay Westbrook that much. If the Nets won't, the Lakers need to find someone else capable of doing so. There are very few teams capable of absorbing such a contract, but there is one, Spurs fans. The possibility making the rounds, the San Antonio Spurs, who were first floated as a Westbrook destination by ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, Woj, obviously pretty darn good at reporting. Bleacher Report's Eric Pincus dove deep into the mechanics of a possible three-team deal from there. In essence, the ice relies on the roughly $37 million worth of cap space the Spurs are capable of creating. That isn't quite enough to absorb Westbrook outright, but if the Lakers were willing to take back a role player like Josh Richardson or Doug McDermott, both making, I think, between $10 and $13 million, that could cover the difference. The Spurs would presumably be compensated for their troubles with a first-round pick. Lakers would have two tradable first-rounders in 2027 and 2029. Wow, okay, many years down the road. The Nets would create a $37 million trade exception by dealing for Irving without taking the money back. There are a couple of major obstacles Spurs fans, the teams involved, and Lakers fans and Nets fans, if you're stopping, don't ignore anybody, and just NBA fans in general. All right, I'm done. Involved would need to clear before making such a deal, though. The first is Greg Popovich's long-standing reluctance to deal with the Lakers. The Lakers and the Spurs last made a trade in 1990 when Pop was just an assistant under Larry Brown in San Antonio. In 2018, when the Lakers were attempting to land Kawhi Leonard, Mark Kessler of the Orange County Retro reported that, quote, it's one of Popovich's cardinal rules not to help Western Conference rivals, much less one with the tradition and resources of the Lakers, unquote. Popovich publicly complained about the Lakers acquiring Paul Gasol in 2008, saying, quote, what they did in Memphis is beyond comprehension, unquote. The two sides here are not especially friendly. Not at all. The Spurs don't trade with the Lakers, so that is the biggest obstacle right there. That being said, the Spurs appear to be headed into a rebuild, and strategically speaking, it might make sense for them to help the Lakers in this instance because relieving them of future draft capital would make them vulnerable in a few years when the Spurs are, presumably, and hopefully, planning to contend again. It's not as though San Antonio has many other uses for that cap space at this point in the offseason. San Antonio might provide an acceptable home for Westbrook when the time to trade Irving comes, but all signs point to protracted negotiations for now. I don't know why I used that voice. It just came out. So, my thoughts. The Spurs would obviously get more picks. We have 1 million picks. Okay, so be it. However, Westbrook has a terrible contract. It's about $47 million. He'll be 34 this season. And if he came to the San Antonio Spurs, this would be his 5th team in 5 years. That is not a good thing. He can't shoot the three-pointer at all. He's actually become a pretty bad free throw shooter over the last few years, and he does average 4.1 turnovers per game for his career. The question I have is if we get him, and I assume we're going to start him if he's on the team, especially with that contract, is that going to stunt the growth of our young players? Were you going to start Joshua Primo at Trey Jones at point guard? Now you're starting Russell Westbrook and setting back those young players, those young guards. Question I have also is, can Russell Westbrook help develop a young team? He can put up great numbers. That recently, a couple years ago in 2020, last year, the end of last season, not last season, the previous season, he averaged 22.2 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 11.7 assists. So, yes, he can still put up numbers, but if he puts up those kind of numbers, are we now a play-in team? And again, can he help develop a young team? Is he going to help players like Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell and Joshua Primo? Is he going to help them develop, or is he going to hurt their development? And that's the biggest thing with the Russell Westbrook trade I'm eyeballing how is this going to affect the team? We're getting draft capital. We're absorbing an enormous contract. We're helping the Lakers. But what is it doing for our young guys? That is the most important thing to me. Is it going to help them or hinder them? And I think having him out there on the court, based on him bouncing from one team to another, to another team to another, and having kind of kind of an attitude, if you will, in the interviews I saw last year. And yeah, people were being jerks to him and calling him Westbrook or whatever. But I just think, personally, I don't like the trade. I don't want to help LA. Those draft picks are miles away in the future. We have no idea what's going to happen in 2027 and 2029. Hopefully, we're contending for something by that point. I would rather just say no to this trade, Spurs fans. Sorry, Lakers fans and Nets fans, if you're tuning in. I don't think this happens. Greg Popovich, as they've already noted in this article, does not like trading with the Lakers. And there's a reason the Spurs have not traded with the Lakers in decades or centuries or millenniums. They just don't do it. So I think you're gonna hear a lot of rumors about this. About, well, the Nets and the Lakers, they really want to make this trade with Kyrie Irving, Russell Westbrook, and blah, 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 blah. Well, there's one team that can really help them out, the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs are going to be over there and be like, oh, did you miss that one? Right here to both of you. We're not helping either of you. Suck it. Can't see it, but well, I guess it did come up on the screen. That's it. Hey, sorry, a little rude, but I think that's going to happen. I think the Spurs just say no to this, and I hope they say no as well. All due respect to Russell Westbrook, good luck to you wherever you go, or if you stay in LA. Hopefully, you can shake that Westbrook name. But coming to my team with the young players, I just would rather not have him. Unless I'm missing something, and he was a great leader in one of the many teams he's been on, and I haven't followed his career religiously. Spurs fans, let me know. Am I crazy thinking this is just an absolute albatross of a trade and not do it? Are you on board with, nope, don't do it? Or are you like, you know what? For 1 year, why not? Give it a shot. Anyway, that's all I got. Quick video. The Spurs Summer League starts tonight. I will not be calling tonight's game, but I will be calling one game next week. I think they play the Rockets, and it's on ESPN 2 or 3, so I'll definitely be watching that game and at least calling one game. And also in closing, my apologies, the content this week has been light and not up to par per se. I've had an absolutely rough week personally. I'm much better now today, and hopefully we get more content rolling forward, and maybe another draft pick profile soon yeah. Actually, another comment down below if you get a chance. Any big prospects internationally? I'm enjoying doing the international scouting reports. We started with Kai Soto, and I was going to keep an eye on him. Just did Victor Wembanyama. Is there another player out there, no matter what, where they are internationally, that, maybe in a year or two will be the next big thing? And instead of being, a follower, I can maybe be a little bit of a leader and covering that player before they really get hot. Anyway, again, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, go Spurs, go!